Hi, I'm Sam Sells, and welcome to my podcast, Clean Money. I like to say investing matters, and my show is to talk with everyday folks that are not only creating great success, but making an impact in society and improving the lives of others. That is my mission, and I want to share my stories and others with you. Welcome to Clean Money. Thank you for joining with us today for another great episode of Clean Money, where we talk about making a difference in the world through our investments of time and resources. My guest today is Sophie Howard, founder of Aspiring Entrepreneurs. She has started, scaled, and sold 6- and 7-figure online businesses. Sophie started online with an Amazon business in 2013, which she sold for $1 million in 2015, just 2 years later. As well as launching over 1,000 products, she has built educational programs, teaching thousands of students how to sell online. She is now focusing her efforts on buying other online businesses and teaching others how to build a portfolio of income-generating assets. Sophie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Sam. We've had a lovely chat just before recording this, so I think we're going to have loads to talk about. Really looking forward to it. Thank you.
Yeah, so you're in New Zealand. And besides being probably the most beautiful country on the planet, it's really far away from America. Like, how long is that flight from wherever?
Oh,
California?
well, also, I don't even live anywhere near civilization in New Zealand. I'm at the bottom of the South Island. So we've got some good wildlife and some good ski mountains, but
Yeah.
I've got to drive over a mountain range to an airport, then fly to the North Island. Then it's a 12-hour flight to anywhere at all, and apart from Australia. And then from there, another good few hours to anywhere else. So I've got quite good at sleeping on planes. It's the only time where not having very long legs is an advantage in life, and I just conk out
Yeah.
one Chardonnay, half a sleeping pill. See you on the other side of the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah, that's great. I've taken some long flights. I think the longest flight I've been on was 17 hours. And um, yeah, there's,
Yeah, going to Europe is a bit of a mission. I do that Whopper flight across to usually Dubai or somewhere. That's about 16 or 17 hours, and then go north from there. That makes it a bit better, but
yeah.
I don't think it's a doctor approved system, my method. But I do wear
Yeah.
those compression socks. We call them
Yeah.
staying alive socks. But I've never traveled much with the children. They're 8 and 10 now, and it just sounds hideous taking children from here to anywhere. But I'm doing it next year when my sister gets married.
Well, good luck on that, and I will foot stomp those compression socks. I've learned that also now that I fly with compression socks on. I'm just getting old, old man
Yeah,
disease.
they're not cool, but they're fine.
They're fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have to say, like you've written books, really good books that I'm just going to highlight real quick here. Um, so you wrote, if I can find my tab here. Okay. Um, You've written a lot of books. So The Freedom Navigator, How Buying an Online Business is the Fast Lane for Financial Freedom. If anybody wants to go see the books, they're on your website, aspiringentrepreneurs.com, which is very well put together, by the way.
Thank you.
And you got a book about that. You got Creativity and Imagination, Deliberate Rest, Emotional Intelligence for Entrepreneurs.
Yeah, been writing a few books. So
Yeah.
sometimes I get ghostwriters helping. The Freedom Navigator one's the last one I did. And if it's a more technical subject like that one, which is how to buy online businesses, that's one that I write word for word myself. And in another life, I teach people how to publish on Kindle, but that's more of a ghostwriter game. And yeah, the buying an online business book's a good read if you want to think about stuff that Sam talks to you about a lot, which is ways of earning income and what to do to generate new income streams. So that's kind of a opposite of being an entrepreneur, really. It's just buying another entrepreneur's hard work and picking up the income stream, which is very nice. Having built a few businesses, buying is way easier.
Yeah,
So,
I that's our next iteration in life. It's probably buying businesses. I think we've done quite a few ground up. It's hard. It's really hard. Much better
yeah.
to to acquire and then implement all the systems to generate leads and marketing and sales and all that stuff to really ramp those things up.
Yeah. And it's good to have done some entrepreneurship first, or been in business for, done a corporate role of some sort. It's not a newbie's game for the first thing you ever do, but you have a load of cash. I mean, it's there's quite a lot to think about as you buy the business, and then as you operate it, you do need to put your entrepreneurial hat back on to think about ways to grow it, and you need to have that kind of resourceful, slightly scrappy way of making things work that you get really well practiced at being an entrepreneur. So if there's a spectrum of entrepreneurs being 100% creative and doing all the work and figuring it all out themselves, leading it, and an investor being completely sort of calculating and passive and just buying an asset, I think the buying online businesses is about halfway in the middle, because you need to think like an investor to buy a quality asset, but you need to still be pretty entrepreneurial to keep the thing sort of spinning and growing, and actually have a natural interest in growing a business. Because in anything, if you're not moving ahead, you're actually going backwards. You can't just stand still. Right. There's nothing you can buy and do nothing to ever, really. Although really? Some people will tell you can, but I don't think you can.
No, they're lying.
Yeah.
Or they don't know.
Yeah.
But the college told them that works, and it's true. Sorry.
Yeah.
Tell your professor who never bought anything before, who teaches entrepreneurship, who's never been an entrepreneur, tell them they're wrong.
Yeah. But there's not too many people doing this sort of strategy of buying online businesses. A handful of people out there buying existing businesses, find a baby boomer who wants to retire and pick up their quite nice trading business that fixes vacuum cleaners or something and take that on before they just close it down. So there's people teaching physical businesses and laundromats and vending machines. There's quite a few people teaching that sort of stuff.
Yes.
But there's a very kind of underutilized corner of business, I reckon, buying online businesses. And there's some great returns. Like my payback period, well, sort of the average payback period is about 3 years on the way they price them on the market. But you can usually negotiate that down because there's so few people doing this. And then, as well as getting the price down, you can actually grow the income streams generally pretty quickly on the other side of buying them, if you've got a few ideas to implement, or if you're a little bit strategic with what you're buying and you cross over. I've already got an email list for this one who might like that new business, and do a bit of sharing team members and things. There's often a few efficiencies, a bit of growth, and a bit of cost savings on your negotiations. So if you can pay a business off in a year or two with an existing team, I don't think there's a better opportunity out there. It's very lucrative. You've got to know what you're looking for and run it well once you've got it. So it's not for everyone, but I think it's been a pretty thrilling and successful ride so far. What I've been doing this for about 3 years now, and I've probably done 30 deals. Some have been quite big, some have been a bunch in the 6 figures. Most of them have probably been 5 figures, and I've bought a few tiny little age domain starter sites and things to play around with. So, but the big ones have been the best ones, which is now making me think I should have just not wasted my time on lots of little ones. But then I was learning what I was doing when I did those. But the last one I did was 325K US, and it reviews online courses. It's really simple.
That's fantastic. So it's the same for real estate anyways. The bigger apartment complexes, the bigger commercial assets, they're more profitable, they're easier to own and operate because they can pay for really good staff. And the small ones, you're hustling yourself. And so when we teach students and they say, well, I really want to buy a single family house, or like, that's pretty much the worst investment you can make as a real estate investor. It works, but it's just super hard to scale. It's super hard to grow. It's super hard to make a lot of money. Can you? Yes, you can. But I can buy 250 in one transaction and turn it all over to other managers and just make sure they're doing the right thing. Or I can try and buy 250 single family homes. That's 250 transactions. That's that's years worth of work versus 3 months worth of work. So I default to the bigger transaction for sure.
Yeah, it's so hard in real estate getting the right advice and the right strategies. There's so much out there. It's just a minefield when you're new to it, which is why it's great you've got a show and you help people understand the big picture and then bring on real estate guests, not me, because I'm not real estate. I wish I had some good real estate advice earlier, though. I've got a little bit here in New Zealand. I just like to I was very tied up in the world of what Amazon's doing. I had FBA businesses for years.
Yeah.
And then I've had Kindle businesses for years, and they've both been really, really good. And I've never had issues with my accounts, but, they could. Or the whole Amazon game, just changes massively. Amazon closes down overseas sellers or something, something could happen. Yeah. So I wanted to have something on the ground, but that didn't take up too much time. So I've got a few commercial buildings and a few residential, but if I'd just done one transaction and never had to do anything else with it, and the law here is really strongly in favor of the tenant. I'm not sure about where everyone's listening from. It's obviously really variable, but it's pretty high compliance on my side. And, front page of the papers, if you get it a bit wrong, it's pretty,
sure,
pretty tough times to be a landlord.
Yeah.
But we've actually just had a change of government, and it's going to get a whole lot better. So that's good.
That is good. What happens is they just destroy businesses and companies. And as it becomes so tenant friendly, you end up turning your apartment complexes or other buildings into slums because you can't afford to maintain them. You can't keep them up. And you may want to take care of it. You may want to keep it as nice and pretty as possible, but you can't.
Yeah.
You can barely afford to keep that thing alive.
Yeah.
Or you can't, you sell it to some big conglomerate and they're okay with very little returns.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Yeah, I seem to specialize in 1970s old holiday homes by accident because the town I live in is a resort town. Yeah. And so all the new houses are all either grey or beige or greyish and have a tiny, tiny section of land with them. And they're a few $1 million. I mean, it's a really expensive town, like millionaires playground stuff. It's probably like Aspen. In fact, it's pretty much the southern hemisphere Aspen. But I like the ones with bigger gardens. And so but the only houses with big gardens are the ones like I live in now, which is a 70s block special. But they're really cool. I mean, you can do them up. I've just double glazed and insulated, and this is my own home, but this is the ones I seem to own, but they come with a decent amount of land, and people love living here and love renting them. But I would not recommend ski bums as the number one tenants in the world.
Oh yeah, find somebody else.
Yeah.
So so you're teaching right now, you're teaching people how to buy these companies. Who's your target audience? Who's the best, easiest person, not the easiest person, who's the right person to try to buy an online company?
Oh, I do think about this a bit. And because I've got quite a few students on the program and I see some people turn up, rip through the training, go and buy something, and they choose something really good. It's like, oh, we need more people like you. This is who we're after.
Yeah.
And it's a relatively new program. So early days, but what I've seen, the people that do well at this, they are quite decisive. They've had some practice making decisions. They've either run their own business before or had a pretty senior role, probably managing a team or been in a law firm or, some professional services. The guy who's just looking at a deal now that's 1.1 million, which is a review site of all the activities to do in a city, but it just ranks at the top of all those activities on Google, and they earn commission on all the experiences that you can get linked through to. So his background's a film director. And then another lady actually hosts a podcast, and she teaches entrepreneurs on her podcast, ideas about business, and she just loves business and online stuff. And then another guy's a mortgage broker, and he's earned big chunks of commission in his life. He's pretty busy with his day-to-day stuff, so he hasn't got lots of time, but he wants a new income stream. He wants to diversify. He wants a totally different asset class to property. Done property, been there, got that. And he wants to do something for himself that's a bit more entrepreneurial and kind of hands-on and a bit more creative. And off the top of my head, I've got another guy who was a management consultant. So the pattern would be some previous experience and generated some reasonable income so that they can come in, do some training, buy a small site, learn the ropes, then go on and buy a bigger site. Quite confident negotiating, although I can teach that, and actually I'll jump in and help students who want help with things like negotiations. But you don't need to be massively techie, but there's a certain age cap. And like, oh, I don't know if you're going to love this. And there's a certain age where they just don't want to have to watch every Google update and think about that too hard. And I don't really want to be watching every Google update either, but at least I'm sort of in that cusp of not totally techie, but techie enough I could manage someone who's managing my WordPress plugins or something. I don't even know what they are, but
Yeah.
I can at least know that they need to be done.
Yeah.
So not hands-on with tech, but sort of okay with talking about tech a bit, but not doing it yourself. You don't need to write any words yourself on a blog site or anything. It's all outsourced. So you need to be able to build a little team and have a remote little gang doing all the day-to-day. And then the other thing it suits is for people who are tight on time. So you might have resources and drive and ambition for a new income stream and interested in it, but the chance of you successfully starting your own business with the free time that you have between all the other stuff, you've got zero because you haven't got enough time. And not only time per week, but the elapsed time, because it takes a good few years for any new business to really pick up and be profitable. So it's just like a fast track to that end point of having the income stream without the years of hard work. So although you put your money down up front, you're buying something proven and you're buying that income stream the day you do the deal. So you pay your money out, income starts flowing to you. But what's nice is most sellers are quite open to a seller finance deal. So you're not putting it all out up front, and the income stream is full noise straight away. And it works out quite well. So the last deal I did was such a good deal. I actually paid the full amount in cash the day I saw it. I was like, I really want that site. It's perfect. It's just got my name on it. I didn't overpay, but I didn't want to lose out to someone else. And then others, the one before that, the asking price had been 110K and I got it for 55. So that was fine too.
That's
and he was
fantastic.
open to a seller finance thing at 60. And then he said, how about we just do it all up front? And said, well, what's the price then? 55? It's like, fine, half price will do me. So it's all a bit variable deal by deal, but they've been really interesting sites. I kind of try and buy something I've got some level of interest in. Otherwise, it's a bit hard to get around. I bought a site last year about playing the guitar, which I don't do. And just keeps dropping down the to-do list to work on it and think about things to do to grow it, because I don't really know the audience. I don't know the product. So I don't think I'll do that again. I mean, it's fine as a site, but it doesn't really get me too excited. Whereas the other ones, I love working on what needs doing and don't do all the work myself, but it's quite good to have a kind of a game plan for everything you've bought and know where it's heading. And just like a building, you know, some things need a bit of maintenance and some things you could add an extension onto. So quite like doing extensions where I can, especially if it's obvious to me what should be done, or I've bought it underpriced because something obvious hasn't been done. You know, they haven't been collecting email addresses, or their pricing's too low, or they could turn it into a recurring membership rather than a one-off. So can't help myself, just meddle.
So most of these are educational sites where they're selling education.
Not by design, but I do certainly think anything with a digital product is pretty much software is the best business model, but buying one of those is buying a bit of a handful of stuff. That's not totally passive. So I haven't bought any software businesses. I'm actually building one, but I do like anything with like a course on the back end or a little paid download of some sort, or some like little mini course, something like that. So digital assets are just pure profit, whereas if you're having to write a lot of words to get adverts or affiliate links seen by the readers, then that's a lot of words and a lot of gaming with Google to get the pages ranked. So most of my sites actually are those Google content type sites. It's just, as well as a blog about how to play guitars and reviewing guitars, there'll be a course on how to play the guitars for sale as well.
Yeah.
Or buy your journal for tracking your guitar lessons here. It's a $2 download or something. You know, lots of like little mini add-ons really seem to make a difference. But I do think in times of AI coming down the track pretty blooming quickly, I think it's probably a good time to think how people are going to be consuming information in the future and learning in the future. Do they need to buy an ebook on that, or will they just go to an online hologram guitar teacher and learn that way? Probably not through my site. You know, I've got to think about everything. I mean, I only did that deal 2 years ago and I've got to start thinking really fast, what's the AI feature of guitars? Or I've got a site that reviews, the one I bought last is called coursereviewers.com, and it reviews classes on masterclass, but that's amazing celebrities. You know, it's Gordon Ramsay talking about cooking, and there's still going to be humans interacting with other humans, teaching skills like cooking, or talking about something that's inspirational that only humans really get. You know, there'll be What's the last one on there that I reviewed? I've got them all on my little list next to me. So there was Serena Williams has just got a masterclass on there about how she, her tennis game, not the technical forehand stroke, but like how she thinks about tennis, how she prepares for a competition. That stuff's not AI. That's watching great people be great and learn and get inspired by them. So anything where the sort of humans and conversation and personality, that's always got to be around for a bit longer. But gosh, it's hard to see the future right now. Very interesting times.
It is super hard. And I know we were talking about that before we started filming here. It's, I think humans will always be a premium. And we have training courses that we've recorded and share. And we've even one of our staff went so far as to create the same training courses, but with an AI version of myself teaching the course. And it's kind of weird, right? It's just kind of odd. And I suspect that eventually that'll become natural. And if you watch YouTube, you've heard YouTube videos that are clearly recorded by not a human.
Yeah.
They're really annoying.
They're
but
really weird. Yeah.
but still they have like millions of views. And you're like, so people are already using AI to do that and make a lot of money that way. But I hope that humans are always the most important thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So Google's going to be looking for trust, and there's no credibility with something that's just been whipped up. I mean, there's been court cases with, completely made up precedents, that didn't exist. So that's already clunky and ugly at the moment. It'll get really smooth and really good, no doubt, and factually more correct, but you can never get trust or insight, really. It's just going to be a spray of facts packaged up. So anything live and interactive, coaching, decision making, getting inspired about things, making changes, all that really human stuff should be fine.
That's where we're at. That's really where we're doubling down. It's not, you can learn all the how-tos on internet for free, right? It's okay, now what? What's the next step? How do you take all the information, decipher it, combine it, and then go forward with a strategy that works versus following all these, easy 3-step processes that are really, they're not 3 steps, it's 27 steps. But they just want you to buy their program. Yeah.
I look at lots of books for sale on Amazon that have been written by pure AI. I think a lot of ghostwriters are getting a bit of assistance from AI, which is just fine, gathering facts, but then writing it properly. But, the book I just wrote about Freedom Navigator and buying online businesses, I mean, there's case studies there and insights on the deals I've done and how I negotiated the price down, or why I like this business model, but don't touch that business model. That's not going to come out of AI ever, I don't think. Plus, it's my own personal experience, like a one-on-one experience being shared. And also for the reader, they need to go, I don't have quite that big a budget, or I've actually got that skill set. Yeah, that sounds like something I could do. And they're processing a completely different level to the facts of what the asking price was or how many page views per month that website has. It's completely irrelevant to the person thinking about buying a business. So I think there's another higher level that wraps around the facts and figures that we'll have to be very careful to maintain.
Yeah, agreed. So what are you doing now to prepare for the future? I mean, if super intelligence is really 3 years away, right? Terminator's coming here in 3 years or whatever. I don't, Skynet or whatever. So if, the world is clearly changed, and it's changing incredibly fast. What are you doing now? I mean, are you still buying businesses? Are you still looking for businesses? Or you're just not sure what's going to happen? What are you doing?
Yeah, I've got a few things on the go. So I'm embracing AI. I'm trying not to be frightened of it. So the SaaS business I'm building uses AI, and it's a tool for authors. It's not actually a writing tool. It's more to do with book promotion. But authors don't really like marketing very much. They want to just be writing books. And I'm not what I'd call an author, but I know how to sell ebooks on Kindle and lots of that. So saw an opportunity. So I thought I'd build a SaaS business there, learn something new about building and selling a SaaS business. And we're going to do a quarter by quarter plan through 2024. And in quarter four, try and sell it for a couple of $1 million. I've got a plan for recruiting clients and recurring revenue, and simple tool that's been built, paid for that so far. So that uses AI. So trying to catch the upside of it. And in terms of being protected from the threat of it, I'm going to do, normally we do a lot of teaching online. I'll do a live event next year. I'll do a few summits. I just went to a great conference in Las Vegas, which is a bit of, as you said, a bit of a trip from here. But I'll make sure I go to a few things in person very deliberately, not sort of hide from interacting with humans and getting out there. I want to travel, I want to work quite hard when I'm working, but I've got 3 fantastic trips lined up for next year just to sort of see the world and have a really real experience. And I'm taking the children to London, which is a very long way away from here, for my sister's wedding. And then I'm going to go through Russia and Mongolia on a train with my partner, and then going to Sydney for New Year. So I'm trying to just make the most of traveling and enjoying life. Because I think there'll be a lot of efficiencies and things like your cost of your team or generating content. But then if everyone's just generating the same content, it becomes very uninteresting very quickly and very irrelevant. So can't play a volume game. So just need to get as many passive income streams going and enjoy quality of life. I'm getting my daughter off to a very good private school, so she starts that. And I talked to the principal there, how we're going to educate young ladies in these times, and, all those debating skills and ethics Olympiads they do, and playing sports and all that stuff. That's only humans. Yeah. So I've been interested in it, thinking about how to help my children. I mean, they could play games and learn maths in a game form now, which is sort of different from sitting there with reciting your tables and the blackboards and the repeating the tests. But whatever works, got to not be a Luddite, otherwise you'll be like one of those cranky old people complaining about the youth of today and not able to communicate with anyone. Like my next door neighbor, who's 83, is on Skype talking to her grandchildren all around the world, but most of her friends can't use Skype. She actually can't drive Netflix. I have to go and change channels for Netflix for her a bit. She can never remember her passwords and stuff. But she's kind of making an effort, and it's paying off for her rather than hiding from it. But yeah, you've got to be able to communicate with other generations. So you got to be where they are. Can't hide.
My 6-year-old already learning math, knows most of his times tables. It's all games that he's been playing on his iPad. He speaks and asks questions to a chat tool that's embedded in Roblox or something like that, and he'll ask it, like, how many moons does Kepler 37 have, or something like that. So he knows just about every single planet in the known galaxies, and he's just incredible. But as fast as he wants to learn, he can learn. And we've never been limited by the instruction says that we need to figure out the 75 different ways to divide 10 by 2. And we're going to do this all out in long form. We're going to spend 6 weeks on this.
Right.
Right. While you're just like racking your brain, like it's 5. Okay, I can do this in my head. Do we really need to do this? So, that they can just learn so much faster. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see how this world goes. But he's using AI right now to answer his questions.
Yeah. And then the people earning the most money in my town, which is a little resort ski town, are the tradies. I mean, people installing heat pumps, thousands of dollars a day. Absolutely. Look at who's got the biggest boats on the lake. It's the people that put in heat pumps and solar panels and, fix broken plumbing, the plumbers and the gas fitters and the drain layers.
Yeah.
That's not going to be done by a robot anytime soon. The cleverest mechatronics is going to be military stuff and car manufacturers and gadgets for your kitchen bench, like that grunty earth moving, breaking in a horse, all that stuff is us for a long time yet.
Yeah, I agree. It'll just get more expensive for us all.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've just done a round of renovations. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, our budget. Investors sometimes get frustrated. I'm like, look, our budget from a year ago and today is different. I mean, it's different. 3 years ago, stuff that we were doing for $2,500 is now $10,000 or $11,000, and we do 100 of those or 200 of those. So it makes a massive impact to our budgets and our the cost of doing business. It's just
Yeah,
because it's all,
insurance, that's quadrupled here.
yeah, insurance is going. It's yeah. Well, yeah. I always love that. You should have known. Like, should I? This is this is not normal. This is not. You can't look at the past and see this.
No, it's been a funny few years. I feel like I'm kicking myself that I didn't do more when money was cheaper in the kind of that money printing phase of
Yeah.
QE and, easy money and desperate sellers as well. It was a bit of a sweet spot there. I didn't realize how good it was at the time. I put my money into the share market then. And I was busy teaching because with an online course about working from home, that just went off. So I was in peak earning. Houses were pretty cheap and money was free. Oh, silly me. Anyway, didn't do anything silly, but could have been more aggressive. But, again, hindsight, better to have not done something and been a bit more cautious than got it really wrong.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know when our borders were going to open again and our economy was just in ruins. So new government now, fresh new start and a bit more business friendly again, which is good. But it's been a tough little year or two now. Sort of the refixing of finances this year has been rather eye-watering.
Yeah, this past year has been really incredibly tough on the commercial real estate market. Never in American history have they increased interest rates by 500% in 1 year. And it's
Brutal.
just brutal. And it wasn't in the cards. So you have all these, elite Ivy School league, folks who are involved in commercial real estate, and it caught them all by surprise because they're using data analysis to predict the future. And you look at the past and it's not there.
No.
We were all prepared for a 200% increase, but not a 500% increase. And that's
no. I've got on the whiteboard behind me, I've got a pay down debt fast game plan going on there.
yeah.
So every penny has a plan.
Every penny has a plan. I love that.
Should hashtag that maybe.
Yeah.
Never done a hashtag in my life.
There you go. That's the first one.
No, I'm feeling very focused on that. If I, get a few chunks of those properties sorted, I would not need to work again. So I can see a runway 2 years of being retired fully if I want to be. I'm sure I wouldn't retire, but I'd like to have the option that those school fees are covered for both children. That's a big one. That's a big cash requirement.
Yeah, huge.
And that's going up fast too. Crikey, when we did the school tour, it was 40k a year. Now it's 50. It's like, it hasn't even started yet. It's two of them.
My goodness.
So anyway, keep buying websites. So I am still buying websites and just trying to use my brain and not follow the masses, but think from first principles. What does the world need? What do people want? What's a good business model is a really important one. So being creative, like the most lucrative thing, that book by Naval Ravikant is basically the highest value thing to produce is code, because it's basically free to replicate and solves problems and doesn't require people, and you can update it, but you fully own it as an asset and it's free to scale. So I was thinking about that. So that's why I've got one SaaS business on the go, but you're paying for the developer up front, you're testing the market. It's pretty intense work. We have a meeting on that project every 2 days rather than weekly. We're trying to really crank it. And then that goes live in a few weeks and hopefully is a path to riches, but higher risk, but much higher reward. And then the stable of online portfolio businesses I've bought performing really well. I could live off that, but who knows what Google's going to do or YouTube's going to do or Facebook. I mean, none of them. So I've never bought anything that depends on paid Facebook ads. I never do anything where I have to publish loads of new articles to get ranked on something. I want really steady things. Like quite a lot of my business is a subscription base. So I've got a book subscription business that's kind of drop shipped that I bought. I've got a subscription business where everyone gets a monthly pack of design assets, which is really high value to them and not that expensive. And they get a bunch of keywords that have been researched. So that's kind of easy for me to deliver and very lucrative and very low maintenance. So anything that's a bit sticky, like recurring revenue things. And I've got a newsletter that authors love, and I sell advertising spots in that every day. So that makes really good income. So I'm really happy with the things I've bought. They should keep running as long as there's a publishing industry, as long as there's a online education industry, as long as there's a whatever else. People like reading physical books. people want to design journals, all those sorts of industries. If they're there, I'll be there with my sites, but you need a bunch of them, I think, over time to really know what's going on. And then real estate's great, but I wouldn't make any money living off real estate here at the moment. You'd have to have millions and millions and millions tied up to have that tiny percentage that's left over as your yield. It's, so skinny here at the moment. We've just lost the ability to deduct interest as a tax expense. So the new government's bringing that back, but I mean, they just threw that on us halfway through COVID. Grim. Wow. So you can't live just on property. You just need a few different asset classes. And I think the online business ones are really good, better than a physical business, far lower overheads, far more reach for your customers, infinite upside and very low running costs. And if it's already built and got the tech sorted, you just maintain it. And there's people online who can run a WordPress site with their eyes closed or do a new logo. That stuff's easy now.
Yeah.
Sending out emails is easy. There's people there that write good English, AI assisted, whatever. But, there's going to be a bit of a hybrid model, no doubt. But I think it's a really good asset class and like helping people look for those deals and buying quality ones.
But for those people who are interested, listening to you talk about acquiring businesses, how do they get a hold of you? Where do they find you?
The site you mentioned at the start, aspiringentrepreneurs.com, has everything there. There's a free book you can download, and that's got some case studies in and a little bit about how I got started doing these deals and what I look for, what my checklists are and things like that. And then I've got a course that's sort of half course, half coaching. So there's a pre-recorded training bit that you'd watch in your own at your own time. And then we do a couple of different live weekly calls, one sort of deal reviews and any tech troubleshooting. And then one is either me or a guest speaker teaching something strategic about buying online businesses. So we've got lots of ongoing education and staying current and sharing real deals. And also anyone buying a site or any kind of online business, I'll do that, or one of my team we'll do a one-on-one confidential deal review with you as well. So you've got some insight as to what we think of it before you go ahead and buy it. And maybe, spot red flags, but also look for the upside opportunities, or that looks a bit off, or seems too good to be true, or this looks just like another site that's doing really, really well, and try and have a combination of sort of the data and the insight to get you on the right track. But we've got a really nice community. It seems to attract really smart people who want to try something that's a bit different, using their brains, putting some money there, but not too much too soon. It's just a slightly different track, but it's very, very interesting, very lucrative, great lifestyle stuff. You can travel, have very low overheads, and get a chance to be a bit entrepreneurial and creative if you want to be. And if you want to keep it pretty passive and low maintenance, there's ways of doing that too. So I think it's a really, really cool strategy. And I'm really enjoying teaching it and seem to be attracting the right kind of people. Maybe they've got a bunch of real estate but want something different, or always wanted an online business but haven't got time to start one. So
absolutely.
Get straight to the end point.
Wonderful. Just the number of books you have on there, it's pretty awesome. And then you have your own podcast that people can.
I haven't been doing too much podcasting of late, actually. I had to do a bit of chopping and changing of how I survived my weeks. So that's been on ice for a few months now, the podcast. I really like talking to different people, but then I have so many calls a week with the Freedom Navigator students on the buying a business stuff, and hopping on calls with them on deals, or hopping on calls with sellers for deals I'm doing. And just sort of, because of the time zone, I ran out of mornings of the week where I'm free. So podcast was last in, first out. But it's a great thing to have a podcast. I'll pick it back up one day, but I'm very happy to chat to other people on their podcasts. So that's working out well too. Then I can pick and choose the times. This is a 6 a.m. start here today.
And your LinkedIn is Sophie Howard NZ for New Zealand. If folks want to connect with you and follow you and see what you're posting. Are you very active on LinkedIn?
I should be more. I quite like the platform, actually, but I haven't been super active on there. But everything's current. Just I don't post lots of articles or anything, but all the contact details are there, Yeah, it's a good platform, LinkedIn. I should really use it more. For my SaaS business, in the business plan there's a game plan of going out and finding lots of publishers through LinkedIn, just paying that premium, I can't remember what the sales manager thing's called, and trying to find the right subscriber base in there. But yeah, it's an underutilized platform, I think, by me as well.
Absolutely. I know a lot of people who use it to great effect.
Yeah, people that work it really work it.
Really work
suits some industries more than others, but I think the HR people love it. My sister's in HR and she uses it a lot.
Yeah.
But online people aren't really on there quite so much for some reason, but the publishing people will be.
Good. It's a good opportunity perhaps to help them grow their businesses, just to get them out into the right networks.
Yeah.
Well, Sophie, it's been fantastic to have you on this call. Who knows what the future is going to bring, but I'm sure you're going to be a part of it and you're going to own a big piece of it.
Well, thank you very much for having me on your show. It's been really fun chatting and we've covered all sorts of different topics, but yeah, fascinating, just stopping and thinking, processing what all these changes in the world mean, Everyone who's owning businesses, building assets, building any sort of portfolio needs to be listening to shows like this and thinking about their own needs and future proofing as well as growth. And interesting times
For sure. And we need to grow. You grow or die. Like you said at the very beginning, if you're not growing, you're going the opposite direction. And we need to grow. We need to grow our impact, particularly for good people. We want to make a difference in the world. You're helping people's visions, their brand new companies that they built. You're taking it onward and providing that value out, and that value, people pay for that value. They want that value. I love what you said, that you look for what the world needs. And then those are businesses that you go and look for, that you look for things that are going to make a difference, right?
Yeah.
Or going to ease people's lives or improve society or whatever. Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Thank you so much for being on the show. Everyone, if you haven't already, check out aspiringentrepreneurs.com. Reach out to Sophie. You can download the free ebook there. You can see tons of other books that you can gain access to on Amazon and learn things that you can do, and sign up for Sophie's program so you can learn from the legend herself and change your world.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, and hope everyone listening to this enjoyed the discussion. I love doing it. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Sophie. Thank you for tuning in to Clean Money, where we talk about sustainable investing that improves society. We are passionate about creating great investment returns to investors who want to use their money to make a positive social impact in the world. If you enjoyed the episode, we'd appreciate a 5-star review. And if you are interested in making your investing matter, please connect with us at wildmountaincapital.com, or you can find me, Samuel Sells, on LinkedIn, on Twitter at Sells_Samuel, on Instagram at Clean Money Sam, or on Facebook. And finally, make your investing matter.